And we are coming on the air right now because ABC News has just learned that legendary actor James Earl Jones has died. He's an actor many of you are familiar with. He was known for his powerful roles both on stage and on film. He was defined by his booming voice, the voice of Darth Vader in the Star Wars franchise, his unforgettable role in The Field of Dreams, the voice of Mufasa in The Lion King, the winner of 2 Tony Awards, and the commanding performance that he had certainly in any role.
Denise and Marlo, you are now listening to the Drunken Monks podcast.
Hi, folks.
Hello.
Hello, Denise.
Hi, Marlo.
Hello, hello. Good evening.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon.
Good night. Straight into it, because A, time, B, we're in different spots. C, we can't exactly hide our guest. So let's not keep him waiting for too long.
Is that a fat joke?
Not me.
Okay.
Not me. Not me. I didn't make the joke. I did not make the joke. My name is Marlo Brown.
Denise Faber.
You sure you're with it?
No, I'm trying to put a timer on fast, maar I never use it, dus het is hartstikke moeilijk.
Don't worry about it. It's good, man. It's good. And we are
The Drunken Monks.
a little hobblig, a little wobblig, but we're here. Good evening. We have a guest in the building.
Hey.
Hi, Bert.
Marlo.
Hello, Bert.
Today we have actor, movie buff, 48-hour film city co-producer, like a financial guy, like an auto guy, like a car guy, like radio personality.
Yeah, man. Jeez, if you put all that sounds
Yeah, it sounds like it, yeah.
So how's about this one? So how's about this one? Hey, Bert, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to the podcast. Met you a couple of times, but in passing, and definitely for the 48-hour project, which I have to say wonderful things about.
Thank you.
Denise is a 2-time winner, by the way, guys. Along with her crew, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Hopefully, we're gonna have a good time here this evening. We gotta pay some bills first, and then we're gonna get into it. Hope that I don't mind. Of course, you gotta pay some bills. We're not in our usual spot for the season. Big up to Alberto, but we do have the props. We do have the ammunition for the night. We're drinking Borgo. We're always drinking Borgo this season. And big up to Kafino. Big up to them in Zeelandia. Big up to them in Grote Berg for sure. Our home that we're going to back home soon. Just had to get Bert in the building first. And then from there, guys, you like it, you love it. If you love rum, make sure you get to Borgo. Make sure you get to Kafino at a reasonable price, at a reasonable idea. And I don't know if you want to add to it. The oakiness, the vanilla-ness, the virgin
perfect.
oak.
Look at the other episodes.
Where we had fun with it. Guys.
So,
Bert!
No, wait. So
Wait.
Today we are in Zanarino Gallery.
Oh yeah, shit. Yeah. We gotta pay like that bill too.
We're very grateful that we could, record just for today here. Mm-hmm. And we love him.
Big up to Giovanni, an honorary monk himself. Check out season 2. You'll see that we had an interview with him. This is the second time that we're here, and big up to Eugenie, Dummers, and the whole crew that have the thing going on. They have a book on sale, which is Curaçao Fiesta. Is a photo book, is a photojournalist, I guess, book from the legendary Harry Verstappen.
Yeah.
And they also have a lot of his works on display right now within the gallery until the end of September. So yeah, guys, come through, see a little bit of history, like a little bit of how the Metropolitan and the island kind of co-mingle, because Harry Verstappen is either born and bred, or he's ingeburgerd son of the soil. I don't know which one, but
I believe he was born here and then he moved to Holland. And
there you go.
His pictures are legendary. He took pictures of the Stones.
Anybody who was
anybody in the rock and roll and the pop scene in the 70s and the 80s. That's what Harry did.
Yeah. And of course, and Yui, of course, because she's about on a third of the pictures here too, like as well. So yeah, guys, if you love fashion, if you love the 60s and 70s, if you love a little bit of like photography art, make sure to come through. And I guess that we've paid the bill.
All right, let's get into it.
Bert, introduce yourself, damn it.
Marlo. So, like Denise said, so my name is Bert Aengenendt. Thank you very much for the invite.
Yeah, man.
I really seriously, I'm very honored. So, yeah, like Denise said, I've been co-organizing the 48-hour film project for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Before this, it was our lovely Ramses Petronia that did it for quite some time. But he said, "Hey guys, I have other things to do. Can somebody please take it over?" And me and Melissa Verboeken, we're doing it now. This year will be my second year involved in the project. Before this, I was involved as an actor in the project.
Okay.
Won Best Actor award.
I won the Best Actor award in 2018, which was fun. But yeah, other than that, I have a friend who works at a radio station, and sometimes she'll call me, well, not sometimes, weekly she'll call me up and she'll ask me about my opinion about certain movies that I've seen. So, people might have heard my voice through that. Other than that, movies, anything in that spectrum, acting, anything in that spectrum, that's just my incredibly passionate hobby. To pay the bills, I obviously have to work between 9 and 5, and so I do that here in Curaçao. I work at a lease company, so yeah, I lease cars for a living. If I could, though, I would give it all up and act full time.
All right, maybe in the future.
Who knows?
Bert, you were born and raised in Curaçao.
I was.
Why is your English so American?
I was about to say, thank you. Yeah.
Very good question. So what happened is I went to high school. I went to high school here up to the 3rd grade.
Yeah.
And then I finished my high school in the United States, in a city called Jacksonville, Florida. I went to a school.
That explains everything.
That explains
Florida,
everything.
yeah, duh.
I was about to say there was a film that like film life is what got you like that, but
it wasn't. It was just going to high school in the States,
I was
having
just
the whole high
thinking
school.
the weirdness is the Florida link. Okay. Film. Okay.
if you see him naked wrestling an alligator, that's a different story.
I plead the fifth. But anyway,
It was a goat.
exactly. Her name was Martha. But yeah, so and then I went to college in New Orleans, Louisiana for 4 years. After college, I moved to University of Amsterdam. So I kind of went all over the place. But yeah, that's what you're hearing is the American accent, because obviously my formative years as a teenager were spent in the United States.
Not just as a teenager, but as a young man as well. Like
As a young adult, yeah.
Yeah, you came of age up there and everything else, basically with it.
I came of age in Holland, really.
Oh, really?
Never mind.
He still has
Amsterdam, the Dummer, basically.
the wallet is what you mean.
Oh yeah, the wallet. Thank you. See, I am not a whoremonger. You can tell. Like, yeah, no, but okay, but you're back here.
Yeah, I'm back here. So what happened is in 2006 I moved back to Curaçao.
Right.
My then wife and I, we had just actually she just gave birth to our first son, and we decided, you know what, we kind of missed the families in Curaçao because the family.
She's also from here.
Yeah, she's also from here. So so we were kind of missing the families in Curaçao after the first child was born, and then we moved back here. And that's basically for families,
Okay.
for just wanting to come back to Curaçao and letting the kids grow up with a grandmother, grandparents actually,
Right.
and stuff.
But not just with grandparents, but again, it's a very unique thing to grow up on an island, and it's a doubly unique thing to grow up on an island with a little bit of opportunity, because again, as a film buff, you had the opportunity to actually see films and to engage in it, not just as a young man, but also here, as you were telling us behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah,
And,
for sure. I mean, film had always been important to me. I did acting. The reason I started acting was, I'd always found drama as one of the courses I liked in high school. Like G.P. Basilio was my drama teacher, and Peter Stuyvesant.
Wow.
Absolutely. John Leerdam came in as a stagiaire and gave us drama lessons. But it wasn't until I went to high school, and it sounds very, very stupid, but I saw a performance of my high school, and I thought, wow, I love this.
Right.
And so then I auditioned, and I got the part, which I didn't think I would get, but they needed a man with a German accent and Dutch. Back then I had a
Das Heimenschlafen!
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's Venus. Anyway, so back
I know nothing. No.
Back then I had a bit of an accent, like a Dutch accent, and so they cast me in this role, and I fell in love with the craft of acting.
Okay.
And, but of course, theater acting is so much more different than movie acting.
Yeah, and TV acting and all of that.
Exactly.
And you gotta know your marks, you gotta know your this and that, whatever. Yeah,
that, but also just the emotions and the way you express yourself. It's in theater, in certain stages, you have to act big, or else they won't see you.
Yeah. You play into the cheap seats.
You're playing up to the guys way up there. So, so then when you're in the movie industry, you learn to, and I'm still learning, but you learn very tiny.
Tone it down. You tone it down.
All you do is expressions of the face, and that says enough. So.
But and what do you prefer, theater or movie acting?
Oh my God, that's difficult, man. They're equally as lovely. It's like asking me which of my sons I like better.
You have a favorite?
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. I'm a parent too. Yeah, you have a favorite.
I do not have a favorite. I can honestly say, but yeah, you know what? Theater is adrenaline. Theater is when you're having a good night, or even if you're not having a good night. I mean, it's when you go on stage, you got that energy from this. You feed off the energy of the crowd.
This is true.
And if you're on a stage and you get that energy, man, boom. While in movies, it's a very solitary type of acting.
Sterile.
Very, and
sterile,
sometimes you're not even acting towards your acting partner, because sometimes they'll be out of this, they're maybe in the scene, but they're out of the scene because all you have is the camera in front of you. So, it's a lot of make-believe, a lot of, like that. But, I mean, so like I said, theater gives me adrenaline, and movie just gives me a certain satisfaction, because if you really nail it down in a movie,
right.
That's
so
awesome.
So I got a couple of questions, and I'm gonna get spicy if you don't mind.
Oh Lord!
Just like one time.
Yeah.
Okay, no. But you got the role, you say, in high school.
Oh.
And you had a German accent, and that was in Jacksonville.
That was in Jacksonville.
Okay. Okay, so you fell in love with acting in Jacksonville and with movies in Jacksonville as well.
No, with movies had always been my love. Not as much as an actor, just
just as a vehicle, just as a medium.
I mean,
as the audience.
Yeah, I used to. I mean, I loved the movies ever since I was a kid. That I remember, I loved movies.
And when did you leave the island exactly?
I left the island when I was about to turn 17, so that must have been 88.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you sound passionate. You sound like a man that you love what you love, and you're willing to stand upon that or whatnot from ever since. I also grew up in that time. I'm a little bit younger than you. I was born in 82, but I had to go through the whole nerd and the whole, what are you doing? Hey, Tread, what? No, it's not down here. Would be Kikotasaki, but it's like, how did you defend that while growing up here? Like, how did you live with that? Did you have any bullying? Did you have any questions of your manhood, like that type of thing?
It's a very good question you ask. I'm gonna get a bit real here. Well,
don't worry, we're here for you, man. Sorry. It's okay. The burger's working.
Not me. I'm not drinking.
Yeah.
But, the reason I'm getting real is the following. I don't remember specifically being bullied as a kid. Mm-hmm. And when I was in high school, I wasn't the popular kid, but I was a very good diplomat. I would hover between all the groups that we had in high school.
Right.
Then I went to high school in the States, and that was, you're, as a 16-year-old, get plopped in a whole new environment, so you gotta try to find your people. Yeah. You gotta find your tribe. My tribe became the theater folks, and the theater folks were all-encompassing, a warm bath. Now, the guy who we had as a teacher, our art director, was an incredibly talented man.
In Jacksonville.
At Bulls in high school. He was an incredibly talented man that then moved on after that school. He went on to a magna school, which is like high schools in the United States that specialize in certain talents. Like you have magna schools that are art magna schools, or theater magna schools, science magna schools. But anyway, my point is that so I had, of course, I still am in touch with some of my friends from high school, and one friend that I reconnected with again, actually in Holland. He's from the United States. he met and fell in love with a Dutch lady, and moved to Utrecht.
As you do.
As you do, and moved to Utrecht. And I mean, it's a beautiful story. But he kept on with acting. He went to theater school. He went to he really went into acting. And he did he still does it to this day. He has a one-man show called Bully.
Oh.
And it was, first of all, it was touching for me to hear that he did this. He was bullied in high school the time that I knew him.
Yeah.
And it had such an impact on him in every sense of the word that he actually wrote a one-man show about it. It's actually a quite successful one-man show that he did, and that he did off-Broadway, and after that went through a lot of high schools in the United States.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
And after that he has a Q&A sessions with people about bullying.
Right.
And he was like, I was bullied by these kids, and I was like, man, I felt bad, because I'm like, well, in theater, he's like, no, you guys were my warm bath.
Yeah.
You guys were like, you guys made me feel, you guys made me feel good.
Yeah.
Right.
And, or at least, so then you're like, I had no idea that bullying existed at such a level.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So then,
Really?
Well, I mean, I wasn't conscious, because I had always kind of gone in between the groups.
You were the chameleon.
I was the chameleon.
Yeah.
I still something that I'm grappling with until this day, where I'm trying to please people instead of like standing up for what I am and who I am.
Right.
So I guess that was my survival mechanism.
Right.
And then hearing this kid's telling his story, I'm like, whoa.
But back in the day, you didn't notice it.
I mean, if I would, that's what I had told this guy too. Man, if I would have, I would have punched the guy's face or whatever. But I mean, obviously, you're 16, 17. You don't know how you would have reacted.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I maybe I was in the closet nerd. Instead of being like, okay, I really love sci-fi.
Yeah.
I really love Star Trek. I really love Star Wars. Like,
And
really
it's not to co-opt or to take advantage of a particular phrase or whatnot, but there are in the closet nerds, as he said, there are those that will be nerds with you behind closed doors, and then once they're in the public sphere within the high school or whatever.
But I think you were traumatized by this nerd thing, because you always posit this nerd thing as, bullying and like it is.
It was traumatizing, love. It was.
I think there are different names. For you, it's always something negative, and I think there are different type of nerds. There's different nerdism, and not all nerds attract bullies, I think.
You have nerds, you have geeks, and you have dorks. That's the triangle, basically. And however you want to take those words, if you want to take it as a negative, as a positive, whatever. But the nerd is like at the apex of both, then, Sahmar. It is both unbridled passion and unbridled curiosity with which it gets fed, right? The nerd, for as much as I know, and feel free to tell me about your experience as well, but within Caribbean culture, it was always looked a little down upon if you want to learn more. Like, why are you trying to learn more? Why are you trying to talk white? Like, why are you trying to improve your speech or improve your grammar or this or that? Why are you trying to, like, quote unquote, and this is the implication, why are you trying to make us look bad? Or why are you trying to put us through a suffering that...
That's what you feel it is?
No, that's what was told. I was the kid that used to ask for, hey, teacher, you forgot the homework. I was a nerd. That was because I was hungry.
Dat is niet een nerd. Dat is gewoon being annoying.
Nee, dat is ook leergierig. If you enjoy...
But I feel you always put it like, okay, leergierig dit, and then it's bad. I was also a nerd.
Yeah.
It was always... But at my school, it was a competition. I always wanted rewarded like the
Which school did you go to?
I went to Stuyvesant.
Okay, and Stuyvesant, if I'm not mistaken, you guys could tell me. Stuyvesant was purely Havo Vivio, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I went to MPC in St. Martin, Middle Peters College, and there was a broad spectrum. There was HAVO, VVO, but it was also MAVO.
But
There was
it-
also LTS, MTS.
Don't the HAVO kids clump together, the VWO kids clump together?
Yes
the
and no, but-
MAVO?
St. Martin was too small, so it was a place of, oh, don't worry, it's okay. Love you. No, but
love you
but
too.
what it is, hey,
Hey, Mensa,
call you-
focus.
no, but what it was in St. Martin, automatically you have 15 cousins in MTS or LTS or MAVO or whatever have you, wherever that you are,
You know,
and it's like people that you might see in school one way, but definitely when you go home to a barbecue with the family, like whatever, you see like in a different way. Here, there's a little bit more spread. There's a little bit more there's
Yeah, maybe.
like you're not bumping into your school friends that fast. But in St. Martin, it wasn't. There was a clumping, but the clumping was also mixed with, and at least for that moment, there was a lot of integration as well. We had a world peace moment at our school when I was in like VVO 4 or 5 or whatever, where like you had like the spot where the quote unquote the lower classes were and the VVO and the HAVO classes were, and we started to integrate and we started to play dominoes with each other, and it was across the board. We all love dominoes. We all love this thing, and the shit talking and the bravado and the manliness and whatever, it didn't matter if he was from LTS, HAVO, VVO, it came across. And thusly, bridges were built. And thusly, everything became a thing where like, oh, you might be from LTS, you might be from this. And also socioeconomic, don't forget that. All those things were put on the side. And then at one point, it was just became, can you beat me in domino? I don't care who you are, can you beat me in domino? Or can you beat me and my partner in domino? And then in that moment, in that little moment of high school for me and my friends or whatever, it became a bridge building moment. But before then, it was a little rough. It was like, oh, you poor person, oh, you think you're rich, you think you're better, oh, you think you're smart, oh, you think you're dumb, or whatever. There was a lot of division. So hence me asking him, hi, Bert.
I think it's interesting. I also went to Petersburg, so I went in a time that I was very susceptible to peer pressure, in a sense that it was kind of quote unquote cool if you didn't get a voldoende. Like,
Yeah.
it was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, man, I got a 4. No, wait, I got a 1. Yeah. And which is ridiculous, right? And I mean, thank goodness I went to the U.S. and then I had a complete different culture where, and that it was perfectly fine to excel if you wanted to. But that's the school that I went to. I mean, obviously there's different schools, and I had the luck of going to the school that I did. But yeah, I see what you're saying, though. I mean, I get what you're saying, and I can understand, just to, defend his point. It can be traumatic, especially at that age.
Yeah.
Where you're very. You're still trying to form yourself. You're still trying to find an identity.
You're still trying to figure it out.
You're still trying to figure it out, and so you're susceptible to these name callings. And oh my gosh, oh yeah, no, I want homework. You loser. I get that.
Yeah.
So I recognize your trauma, and I'm sorry you went through that.
No, I'm not, or rather, it's not a big as deal as it is. I would prefer name it and have it be done, but it's also, I feel like the boomer now, it's also like a relic, is what I feel. Like we're all of an age where there was a omschakeling. I think internet and MTV and movies and all these things brought about maybe not an age of enlightenment, but just maybe a broadening of perspective where things again, I'm 42, guys. I'm like a child of 1982, and there was a moment in time where everything was set in stone. This is what a man is. This is what a woman is. This is what a rich person is. This is what a poor person is. This is what like all these little boxes that were made for the understanding of life. And around my time and my coming of age and whatnot, there was a time of not quite. No, a man in a suit doesn't necessarily smart. A man in bare feet doesn't mean that he's dumb or lazy or whatever have you. And all those stereotypes start to break down bit by bit. I ask these things because I don't want to let it's not a sourness, but it's more like let people know, hey, these things are not quite gone yet. These things are not quite. There's still Macamba jokes. There's still Antiliana jokes. There's still, and
Absolutely.
as long as the joke is good, I can appreciate it. But with the intent, what's the intent of telling the joke? Is it a Dutch manager telling a late joke on a medewerker who is truly struggling, or is it truly peers and camaraderie and not punching down? You know what I mean, like that type of thing. And that's where.
That's funny. I see where you're going. Well, first of all, I mean, let's recognize the fact that bullying still exists. If anything, cyberbullying is crazy,
rampant.
And,
It's worse.
and you know what's happening in schools these days. But it's a cool thing that you mentioned about the Macamba jokes and the.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in a period where, I'll say it like it is, where people in Curaçao were coming into their culture, right? I mean, for years and years, the black culture in Curaçao was achtergesteld.
Yeah.
And
Looked down upon.
yeah, and I was
looked down
coming of it. I was born in a period in 1971 where it was, you know, the whole movement of black power was finally going on in Curaçao, right? I mean, we had
30 May, just a couple
in
of years
'69,
before.
exactly.
Yeah.
So there was this real manifestation of, hey, man, no, it's our country, right?
Right.
And but on the flip side of that is when I was a kid, there were plenty of stores where my mother and I went in where my mother wouldn't get helped because she was a white lady.
Yeah.
And where you would feel like, hey, so that was something that I felt, and I as a kid would get incredibly upset when they would call me Macamba because I'm born here. I mean, my parents are born here. Like
You dico somitaswa.
You know what I mean? Ando com papiamento, que me ande, hey, sério, me quer papiamento, so that was like a whole thing for me, and I remember as a kid, it completely traumatized me because I didn't feel like I was Macamba. But in retrospect, I get it. I understand what was happening now.
Yeah.
You know, so I.
But how did you make it make sense as a kid? Like now you can look back and you say,
As a kid, it didn't make any sense to me. As a kid, I didn't understand the period we were living in. I didn't understand that all of this was
The nuance of it.
Well, exactly, and all of this was centuries of centuries of you know, finally the identity being recognized.
Yeah.
You know, finally being able to say,
Recognize and celebrate it.
Celebrate.
Yeah, because that's another thing too. There's recognition
and there's
there's tolerating and then there's celebration.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
So that as a kid I had no idea what was going on. I don't understand why that lady was being mean to my mom. You know what was going on?
That's my mom. My mom makes me peanut butter sandwiches.
Exactly.
What are you doing?
So you know, I
She's
don't get
cool.
it. What's you know, her, she's really cool.
Yeah.
You know, so I as a kid, it didn't make sense to me at all.
No.
But then, okay, you were explaining that in high school you were like the diplomat kid, you were like laverend overal tussendoor. But did you feel excluded? Maybe not in high school, but as a younger kid, like did you feel like, okay, I don't belong, or they don't want me, or something like that?
You know, I had the luck of. I mean, my parents got divorced when I was very little, and my mother remarried, and she remarried a man who comes from a very diverse background. So his mother is Venezuelan, his father is Surinamese, and so from that side of the family, I had cousins. My cousins were quite diverse, and you know, they really made sure I felt like I was, I belonged.
And people knew they were your cousins.
Yeah, so people were like, that's, you know, they're cousins. Yeah, fine, he's a little bit too white, and then we would make jokes about it. Yeah, my mom drank too much milk. So, you know, exactly. So you know, but I was hanging out with folks that could look Curaçao. Yeah. Right? So that kind of
Softened it?
Well, they helped me out a lot in feeling that I could get accepted by some, you know, especially my peers. And I mean, look, in retrospect, you have no idea when you're in a class that you're in a class with somebody who happens to be a Muslim or happens to be Jewish or happens to be, black, white. As a kid, I just wanted to be like, hey, you want to play for Stoppage? Yes or no?
Yeah.
You want to play hide and seek or you don't? So you don't want to play? Well, then, you're not cool. that was like my point of reference. But so other than that, it doesn't matter. And then in hindsight, you're like, oh my gosh, I went to school with somebody who was attending a mosque. I had no idea. I went to school with somebody who was Jewish. I had no idea.
Yeah. I recognize that.
You recognize that?
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
So when I was outside of my familial little thing, or outside of my friends from school, I might have felt that I was a bit excluded, and I felt a little bit uneasy. But I think, the reason why I also use humor a lot is because I felt that was a way that I could bind people, and try to also make myself feel comfortable in a situation that's not supposed to be comfortable.
All right, I think we're going to re-up, Amy.
Yeah, no. This
when
was.
we come back, I know, there's one question I still want to ask, but then when we come back.
Is it gonna tie into everything else, or?
No, it's tying into this.
Okay, so then we're gonna go with that segment, and then we're gonna finish off.
No,
with...
actually, okay, I'll post questions so that Bert can think about it during our break.
During our break. All right. So then, in that case, guys, we got some bills to pay. We got the re-up. We got to do all the things. We will be.
I was going to ask a question.
So ask a question.
Okay then. But I'm really wondering how
It's a podcast. We can fuck around.
How did you identify yourself when you figure out? Oh, apparently I'm not a Yuri Curaçao. People say that I'm not. People say that I'm a Macamba. And what does it do to your own self-identification?
Okay, and that's the question?
That's the question.
He has to chew on that for about 5 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, can I do the signage now?
Wrong.
All right, guys, we will be
right back.
Right back.
Say how.
Hey, welkom!
Goedemiddag, kan ik u helpen?
Okay.
We will. No.
All right. Alle shenanigans in the kast.
Ja, toch?
We're back.
We're back.
Yes, we re-upped. Everybody refilled. For us, Borgu. Available at Kafino. De enige en echte distributeur.
Yes.
En Bert gewoon alcoholloos.
Ja.
En
misschien dat mag.
Misschien gaan we Bert daar zo direct wat vragen over stellen. Maybe we're gonna ask some questions.
Maybe.
You're in a drunken monk.
Yeah. But he's not the first.
Honourary monastery.
Yeah.
Not drinking.
Right. He's not the first
No,
one.
that's true. There were monks
shout
that
out
were.
to Margot
Yes.
and everything else. But all right, cool. Bert,
Yo,
she got a question.
Yes. Before we left to fill up, to re-up.
and I went to the bathroom.
Yes. I was wondering.
Yeah.
No, I was wondering. You were talking to us about your experience growing up. A white guy, a guy looking like this, maar dan baby form. In Curaçao 80s. 70s.
Yeah.
A time of you said it. I think you analyzed it well. The country was coming into its culture, or after years of neglect or suppression, finally feeling that we were able to express our whatever identity. What does it do to you, a kid who was born and raised in Curaçao, whose parents are born and raised in Curaçao, but who happens to be white? Because you said they were calling you Macamba, and then at first, or maybe the entire time, you were upset because you were like, wait a minute, but I'm a Curaçao.
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I'd always received Macamba as being very derogatory.
Yeah.
And maybe it wasn't meant in that way, but that's the way it came in. And I had identified myself as being somebody from Curaçao.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because honestly, I guess
You don't know why. It's obvious. You were born here.
well, I know,
Up
but
here,
I understand.
but
But
you could be born here and grow up here, but still not be of here.
No, but
And that's a thing where you got Latin afkomst, you got Dutch afkomst here, whatever. He kind of like you grew into it here, is what I'm
Well-
understanding, right?
well, the thing is, I mean, everybody around me was pretty much a different color scheme of the rainbow, right? I mean, and the thing is, I thought that was okay. I thought that was fine. There were different spectrums of the rainbow that I grew up in,
yeah.
and for me that was normal, right? We're all like this, right? And I mean, I had white hair when I was a kid, like white. Like, and my mom would also like let it grow out. So sometimes, like when I was 3, people would call me a girl, you know, like white hair, and I had
Raven hair.
yeah, I had white straight hair, and I was really Dutch looking when I'm looking at these pictures. But I had never been to Holland. I had never identified with people from Holland. Really, my grandmother was from Holland, and I had a very good relationship with her when I was growing up.
But you spoke the language though.
I spoke Dutch, but I spoke Dutch. Weet je, oma, wat is de huis van? Weet je, zo. Dus with an accent, which is bizarre because when I had moved to Holland,
Lovely.
well, check this out. When I moved to Holland in 1995, right, I had just come from the United States. I had lived in the United States for 7 odd years. Went to Holland, and I'm speaking with an incredible then Antillean, Curaçao accent.
Sure.
I'm calling up to make appointments to get a room. I'm not getting a room. I don't get why until somebody finally says, you know what, kid, let's go check out this house or a room, and I an apartment. I go and the lady's like, but you're white.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? She goes,
but me, it's just the other way around. They think I'm a Dutch girl, and I'm like, oh, ben jij Denise Weber?
Right.
Yeah.
So
that does not compute.
So that was the other way around with me. So when they're like, oh, but yeah, don't worry about it, you got the room. I'm like, why? You're white. This really happened in this.
But did people really say that? No, they don't say that. But you know that it
but
wasn't,
you felt
right?
it, and it was obvious then, basically.
They didn't say it literally, but I mean,
maar je bent
but
gewoon Nederlands.
that's what they said.
Yeah.
You know, so that was odd.
That's
But anyway, so coming back to the identity thing, I mean, I had always identified myself as a Judy Curaçao, which is, I don't know, I guess in retrospect is weird.
No.
But that's what I felt.
Logical.
How is that weird?
Why would it be weird?
Yeah, how is that weird in your head? Let's say.
Well, now I'm saying it's weird now that I'm looking back and thinking, why did I think that? Because I was pretty much the only white kid in my omgeving. You know, so and still I identified myself as being as one of us. I still identified.
But guys, that's where you would get it because there was no counterweight to that, right?
Right.
There was no counterweight. You were in a diverse group, a diverse family, a very progressive family. It sounds like as well.
I mean, relatively, there were some things we were conservative in, but other things we weren't.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, yeah, obviously, I mean, I had a very young uncle, for example, who was very progressive, like, you know, the whole flower power thing. But, you know, my mother was a bit more conservative. Right. But yeah,
but you didn't have a counterbalance. You didn't have a counterbalance of. En zo eten we boterhammen met één plak kaas en één sneetje brood. En dat en dus een...
True. I mean, the thing is, though, I did have a grandmother that was kind of like that. You know, but
she's Dutch.
But she was Dutch, so I was like, that's her thing.
Yeah.
You know, it's not. It's that's my grandma being my grandma. Like, you know, my grandma survived the Second World War under terrible conditions. Her and my grandfather, and she was very sparing with food, so she would never throw anything away. So you would.
heard stories about that.
Okay, so you would get croquettes from the turkey that she won back in December, and you would still get it in September. You would get a meat, but that's the way she grew up because that's how she survived the war.
Yeah.
But anyway,
It's okay.
No, go ahead.
No, I hear you, and I recognize a lot of what you're saying, and I think that's the weird. Like we have a weird society, and I think it's just generational trauma upon trauma upon trauma.
Absolutely.
Weird society in
Curaçao?
Kingdom or
No,
on Curaçao?
Curaçao, but I think it goes for the other islands as well.
I'm very curious though, because
Actually,
Saint
no.
Martin. I'm curious what it's like in Saint Martin.
St. Martin was a different story. Dutch people are not a part of the conversation.
All right.
Dutch people are not a part of, at least when I was growing up, at least when I was coming
Nee, hoe bedoel je are not a part of the conversation?
up. Dutch people are there, like how the Surinamese are there, right? Like how the Chinese are there. It's a part of the tapestry, but it's not a part of, like, it doesn't lead the conversation. Here, Dutch people lead the conversation.
Nee, maar wait a minute. Yeah, I get that, but that is different because I feel you have the Berts of the world and you have Dutch people leading the conversation, because that's the point I wanted to make in saying that we're weird, because actually in Curaçao, we are saying you're Curaçao. Like we don't call ourselves Curaçaoians or Curaçaoans or whatever.
Yeah.
We
You're
call
a child
ourselves
of Curaçao,
a child of Curaçao, and
Right.
actually and you can discuss what makes someone a Curaçao, but usually the parameter is, are you able to speak Papiamento and do you love this place? Dat is eigenlijk de graadmeter.
Yeah, St. Martin got a little different.
And usually, normally, inderdaad, the same thing you were saying about your class, you don't know actually who's in your class. Now that I'm older, I was thinking, oh my God, actually, she's Lebanese. Oh, she was Jewish. Oh, but when I was in class, that was just
and
Erin,
class
that
being
was just
school, not
school.
class,
Nee,
not
nee, nee.
socioeconomic
Nee,
standing. Yo,
School,
let me,
school. So when you're
Before it becomes a Marxist conversation, you know what I mean?
down with
Patriarchy.
capitalism, nee.
Oh,
maar,
oh,
okay,
hey,
that changed. No.
hey,
nee,
you sure?
nee, maar on a serious note,
I'm a political scientist, so be careful.
on a serious note, the fact that we both, in retrospect, can say, oh, but that person was actually of Venezuelan descent, and this one was Lebanese, and this one was Jewish, and this one was weet ik veel, means that when we were growing up and when we were in class, it didn't matter. You didn't have a conception, wacht even, of what it is. But at the same time, that you feel you Curaçao, and that you think everybody in my class is whatever, they're kids in my class, there was still somewhere some kind of uitsluitend mechanisme, because it made, I'm thinking maybe it's the larger society and not per se in your class, but then also it will cycle in your class if it's the larger society, because the
But
kids
not just that, but the
are kids
teacher
of
as well.
parents. Maar so there is a weird niet eens paradox, tegenstelling. There's a weird contradiction. So on the one hand, it's okay, anybody can be a Curaçao if you're from here or you belong here and you speak the language. But then again, now we're saying, no, well, actually, a Curaçao actually is black. Actually,
No, but is that not?
this.
Wait,
Actually,
whoa.
is weet ik veel.
Hold on. And then I would tell this question to the both of y'all because
Yeah.
I'm the outsider here, right?
Yeah.
I think what you're touching on is growing awareness, and this is the class that we were trying to shy you away from or whatnot or so.
Me?
No,
cool.
no.
Okay.
Like we were trying
Yeah.
to protect you from. This is the caveat. We're talking about class and school, not class.
Yeah.
Socioeconomic. economic.
Yeah.
I think that there's a growing awareness of socioeconomic realities, if you want to call it that, or what the circumstances are, or whatever. And I think that sting, along with history sting, is what causes. And somebody tell me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what causes and you need, like, they move the goalposts.
No,
Like, you understand what I mean? Like-
Bert reacts. I
No,
understand.
fuck him! You and I talking!
No, I think you're right where that is concerned. And class is always, intersectionality. It's altijd een van de intersections. Maar to me, it is wrong to then link it to Curaçao-ness. Like, but we don't want to.
And now Bert solve racism. Thank you.
Yeah. And please the crisis in the Middle East as well, while you're at it. Ik bedoel,
And cure cancer too, please.
It's. I don't know if you maybe had this when you were growing up, but when I was growing up, they would ask me, "Where are you from?" I said, I'm from Curaçao." Yeah, okay, but where are your grandparents?
Yeah.
Where are your parents from? No, they're from Curaçao. What about your grandparents? Well, on the side of my mother, they're Dutch, and on the side, wait, hold on. Yeah,
That explains it.
That explains it.
That's it.
What do you mean? Yeah, you're not black, so you're not from Curaçao. What did you have this with? Like, are you Surinamese?
Yeah.
Yeah, you had that.
Yes.
So they're like, "Where are you from?" I'm from
but where are you really from?
So my thing is my thing about that is, I mean, I don't know how Marno, how you had it, where like you're like, "Hey man, I feel like I'm from Saint Martin." Okay.
We can have another conversation.
He got a twang.
I'm
busting a twang
No
now.
twang to him.
Oh, well.
But that is a whole other show and a conversation by itself because
I understand.
I got thrown out the island for that one, man.
Okay, but I
swear to God.
That's indeed enough. But
yeah.
where I wanted to go is, that I've been to other places in the Caribbean where people are anchored in their identity. They're I've been to places where like, I can't believe y'all be under the Dutch government still.
My God, every time.
You'll be letting white people telling you what to do. So these are real conversations that
Get
I had.
independence and get in the Caracao, damn it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So these are conversations I, as a political scientist, had with other, and I'm like,
a petition like achtergrond, by the way. So I got like a little bit of that too. Like,
okay.
as well.
So
like, St. Kitts and Nevis, I got that in my family too. So yeah.
But excuse me. So the interesting question that I wanted to pose, because I had been a part of a forum which was very interesting, where I felt like I was, I'm not going to say it disrespectfully, but I was kind of like the token white guy in this discussion. Where, again, I don't mean it disrespectfully, but the question was very valid. Like, why do you feel, and that's the question you guys had asked as well, like, why do you feel like you Curaçao? Like, what,
what makes
other the fact that, white people were here before the African slaves.
Yeah.
But we don't want to, that's another part of history we don't want to talk about, right?
And not just another part of history, but it's also another part of like circumstance as well.
Exactly.
One came here willingly
and the other didn't. So that those are whole other circumstances. But I find this whole thing about identity, like the Youth Curaçao, like what can we do to make the Youth Curaçao feel just as proud about their place as the St. Martins do about their place, as the Arubians do of their place, as the Bonarians do of their place.
But they do, but
not completely. Because if I'll just give an example, right? Like I love sports. I'm crazy about sports. My older son and I, we really are fans of the Curaçaoan football team.
Yeah.
I mean, we really are fans.
Face to all the whole night.
We are big fans. Have been fans ever since like Patrick Kluivert came in as a head coach back then, and it's interesting that even if they lose, sure it sucks, but hey, come on, we're gonna pick it up. If the next time I come back in the stadium is half empty because people are like, oh yeah, we lost last time. We lost one time. Like, it's part of the game. Yeah. Like, if you're really truly identify yourself as a Youth Curaçao, you have to go through the bad times. And that's one of those things that we haven't learned. We haven't learned to really have each other's back in the bad times. We kind of give up and say, yeah, okay, Bang Holanda.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We do like to hold up our hand.
We do like to be like, hey,
we fuck up, now help us.
Let's move to Holland. Forget this.
To the political scientists and to the anthropologists, I always like to put our anthropology, like in front
in display.
Right.
I'm so proud of you.
I would, yeah, exactly. With that mean girl energy, I'm so proud of you.
Okay, man.
No, but the identity thing for island folk and for the African diaspora, I think that's beetje vanzelfsprekend. Like, the identity thing is so hard because previous identities have been erased.
Absolutely.
And I think that previous histories and whatnot. So in where there's nature abhors a vacuum, and so where there's a void and where there was such amount of things throughout the years and whatnot, so we got to make a new one, but there's reverence for what was there still. Okay, we're going to make a new one, and so the new thing becomes the thing that has high reverence and whatnot, and it goes in waves and in motions and in whatnot, depending on circumstances, again, the economics of things and whatnot. So I think that St. Martin has always been a trader's place.
Yeah.
Has always been a place of like trade and with the salt mines and everything else. And again, somebody could tell me if I'm wrong. I don't want to get it, wrong or whatever. I think that St. Eustatius, where I'm from, has always been isolated after trade. Has always been, it was a golden moment, it was a golden thing, and then the thing got knocked down. I'm like, okay, well then we're done here, and everybody gone, and so we're all of a sudden we're a little boondocks down, and so we became insular amongst ourselves. Every island has a story to me where that is concerned, and I think that Curaçao never left the limelight, and so a certain amount of integration, a certain amount of understanding of self, and we're important, but the white people are important. Why are we not important? Type of thing, and learning, and throughout the years, and literature.
I guess
Right?
that's the thing that I guess they did a very good
The
job.
anthropologist disagrees.
Th-
Hold
I,
on,
I
but-
guess they did a very good job making us divisive.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
Sowieso.
I think they did a perfect job in creating this society that was divisive, so they were, for obvious reasons, so we could be controlled better. But and that division still is in us through every fiber,
Yep.
every microfiber of our identity,
Yeah.
of our DNA.
To
And
the point, just as a joke, just as an anecdote, folks are still wondering why it's so hard to get like good trained horeca off the ground. That chip on the shoulder for the locals, that you can't tell me to serve you. What are you doing? Like you can't have another black man tell me to serve you. You can't tell none of this stuff. You can't have me serve you. And in that, it becomes a thing of, you know what? Okay, history and whatnot. We got to untangle that particular snake and whatever. I will leave it at that because we're going, and I want you to have the last word. I want you to have the last word as well.
Last word.
Because we are going
Difficult
long.
about it with this topic, but when you said we want Curaçao wants to be in the limelight,
Not wants to be, but historically has been.
but
For the circumstances of everything and whatnot.
wants to be or has been, whatever, doesn't matter. I think we were and we wanted to be maybe in the limelight, and the only way we knew how is by being the beste jongetje van de klas. So if the white man, Dutch in this case, the colonizer, not Bert.
He's not a colonizer. He's a
colonizer.
No,
he's
no,
a-
No,
he's
but
an
I
ally.
think
well, some people think I have to, go into that. I have to give that a place in my identity.
You have to give that a place in your identity. I would like you to finish that thought, please.
But I think
Yeah,
it's
yeah, like after you're done,
maar goed. Nee, kijk, but I think the way we Curaçaoians, Curaçao, have been trained since 1634 or wherever, is the way you get the attention, the way you get the money, the way you get whatever you need to get
Prestige.
what we taught ourselves maybe is to emulate the colonizers. And I think that's why we still are very divisive. That's why we still do all this bullshit. That's why we define culture very narrowly, or that's why we define in certain instances who is Judy Curaçao very narrowly. But that's how we've been brought up, and we never let it go, and we didn't get a chance to let it go. Kijk, the other island, Curaçao was always the main island. This is my theory, yeah? Dat is niet ergens op gebaseerd. Curaçao has always been the main island. Curaçao always had the most Dutch representation. Everything from the colony or the colonizer was here the most. I think the other islands oftentimes were gewoon let alone. Maybe you have one opzichter or you have a small group, but the islands were left alone.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times when shit hit the fan, the islands had to fend for themselves.
Yeah.
Zoek het maar uit hoe jullie overleven.
Hurricanes and whatnot and so
Whatever.
yeah,
Curaçao takes all the money, gives some crumbs over there. Zoek het maar lekker uit. And I think that is a major difference in the way, if you can generalize, the way that we are Curaçaoians versus any other island person.
Yeah.
And I think if we're not conscious of that, and if we don't work at that, it's going to be like this forever. We're always going to exclude people, and we're always going to focus on differences instead of strengths and things that bind us together.
I would add
feel.
one more thing on top of that. And then Bert, please jump in because I think that it would be a good involved hook as well. they never figured for Bert. Or
But they never figured for Bert?
They never figured for Bert or the birds in the world. They both colonizers and the colonized. They never figured for Bert. It was always, again, it was clear lines. It was the haves, the have-nots, those in power, those in not, and so forth and so forth. And you can go down the line on everything. But they never figured for him. They never figured for, what if you have, quote unquote, the descendant of a colonizer? I'm not saying you, but
All right.
where, they actually have empathy with the island instead of, the mother country or the whole, you know what I mean? They nobody could have foreseen that, even though it was foreseeable.
No, I don't know. I don't think that's historically accurate.
You don't think that is historically accurate?
I think very early on Curaçao, you had a white community.
Yeah.
Whether it be descendant of Dutch people or Jewish people. I think probably in 1700.
Yeah.
Die waren er al misschien 2 generaties, maybe. Who were really Curaçaoian, who did not identify with Holland, who were really
but
here.
They still had the...
They had the perks and everything.
But they still had, like, systemic racism and everything.
Ja, dat wel.
Built into the system and everything that they wanted to keep it that way. And so, we're here, but we're here with this as well. I don't know, man. Like, but again, that's an unintended consequence to me. Is like, you can feel here, but feeling here means, I eat yumbo with this person. I play softball with that person. I do whatever with that person. What I've noticed and what I love, and again, Bert, I appreciate you being here basically for that, because you're a good representation of that. At some point, the lines blur. Mm-hmm. At some point, you can't maintain the lines of bullshit and be like, country and culture and we're from here and whatever, because hell, the place is too small to do that. You can't be like, we're from here, but fuck all them like Venezuelans that are from here, or fuck all them Haitians that are from here, or fuck all them. You can't do it. You have to bring them all into the tent, and at some point, you have to compromise. You have to find a way in the middle. You check one man. That's why I say bless what I'm seeing when it comes to the blurring of lines. My best friend, you've met him. Mm-hmm. My best friend is a station man. He's not a Dutchman. He's a station man. Blonde hair, blue eye, the whole nine. Sub bus. He is a station man. And everybody with me will kill any Dutchman that comes after that station man. Believe that? You understand? So it's like, to come back to identity, to come back all of it to one and the soul. So it's a feeling. It's this is kind of muddled and what and so. But those that seek to strictly define it are also working against it. I think that is my last point, and it comes in the fact of kumbaya, embrace, love, the whole line. Yeah, Bert, you got something for that? Cure racism right now, please.
So. There's a couple of anecdotes I wanted to share. One of them is that I have, together with a creative partner of mine, we have a YouTube channel called Curaçao Curious.
Yeah.
If you ever
like it, follow it. It's awesome.
We'll put it in the we'll put it in the description as well.
Curaçao Curious, and what we do is we pick up curious things, but we also interview people. For example, we've interviewed Quanky. Steel pan player, maestro. We've interviewed Giovanni Abad. We've interviewed Rina Penso, Laura Quast. The
Curaçao greats.
Well, we've also just gone off the beaten path. We've also interviewed a man that's been living in a cave for 50 years, and we've also interviewed other types of people that identify themselves as a Curaçao. And I remember. One day we went for Flag Day, we went downtown, and the people that were most dressed in the colors of Curaçao were migrants. We would stop them and be like, hey, we just have a quick question. And like, you would get this broken papiamento Spanish out of the person. And but they had so much love for the island. They said, listen, the island took me when I was at my downest. And, I have what I have now because of this island. Now, having said that, so I think that's beautiful. That's what you want migrants to do at one point. I just came back from Holland. My son started college, and so I went there and helped him out, what have you. And I'm sitting with a cousin of mine. And, well, we're not really cousins as in good traditions in Curaçao. His mother and my mother are best friends. So, of course, she's my tanchi, and, they're my cousins.
Okay, wacht even, time out. Er was even zo'n a thing on social media. Yeah. And then they were asking a bunch of people, what are the children of your best friend's mom called? And they were asking, it's an American thing. They were asking Afro-Americans, and they were asking Caucasian Americans. Yeah. So all the white people, it's also editing, but all the white people said, well, they're my friends. And all the black people said, yeah, we're cousins. I'm a cousin. Here, you bent you're Curaçao certified.
Thank you, buddy. But anyway, they're my cousins, and they're interesting because my aunt is born in Curaçao, but she's from Surinamese descent. Her husband is Surinamese, like 100%. And so, but these guys identify as Curaçao, which is very odd. But they identify as Curaçao. They were born in Holland, raised in Holland. And I'm having this...
Born in Holland, raised in Holland, Jullie Curaçao.
Jullie Curaçao.
Makes sense.
But
Jambo walk-in panel.
So they like speak maybe three words of papiamento and only the bad ones, if that. But anyway, I'm having a wonderful evening with my son and my cousin, and I'm asking him about... No, actually, I think he started the whole thing with the fact that he thinks it's kind of BS that they have to apologize for slavery, and I said, wait, hold on, what do you mean? He's like, well, I think it's BS. I think it's, mind you, this guy is like darker than me, and he's telling me that he thinks it's BS because, I mean, the island wouldn't be what it was today if it wasn't for the colonizers.
Laat hij zijn Jullie Curaçao paspoort inleveren. Meteen.
But this is my point, though. This is my point. So I go, okay, so what do you know about slavery? And this is where my point is, which I think is very interesting. I mean, the guy probably got like less than a paragraph about slavery in his history books when he was growing up in Holland, and he's 10 years younger than I, so he's a bit from your generation, and that's all he got. Then he says, "Listen, I just need to." He's being dead honest. He's like, "Just what are the facts? We don't know the facts." And I tell them, "We don't know the facts because the colonizer has hidden the facts and has erased the facts." So the thing is, we as a kingdom, we have so much to do when it comes to the history of these islands and the history of the Netherlands, because it's a history of the Netherlands. Yeah. It's a history of the kingdom.
It's a shared history.
It's a shared history, and until the day that we kind of are able to talk about that pain, we're able to move on, and we're able to identify in whatever island we are. But that thing, guys, it has a huge impact on us as a nation building island. I just wanted to say that.
Agreed.
Hey guys, cheers on that one.
Cheers. Non-alcoholic.
All right.
Cheers. Fuck it. Inclusive.
Okay, yeah.
I know.
Yeah, guys. Guys,
hey, do we have to go for a break? Can we?
Yeah, we kind of gotta go for a break. We gotta check on the cameras. We gotta do every fucking thing.
Well,
yeah, guys.
it's good.
It's a guerrilla operation. What you want? No, but Bert. No, but real. Thank you for your insight on that. We are gonna pay some bills. Bills.
Can't pay my telephone bills. We'll be right back.
Hey?
You have to be autistic.
I think ADHD.
It gotta be somewhere in between,
something.
man. Guys, we'll be right back.
Don't sweat the technique.
That's my guy. That's my guy. So guys, we are Preto, and
back in 2019, we met in a cocktail competition. Yeah, ever since, we just got respect for each other.
for us, the whole thing is the experience and enjoying what you do, the passion behind bartending, the passion behind service, the passion behind hospitality.
And Preto is papimento for black. It is a very heavy word. We feel like it's a beautiful word. There's a lot behind it.
The name and the location that we're at, the name Preto and the location is just a blend of us being basically, because Scarlo we feel like it's an upcoming neighborhood.
Yeah.
and it has so much history. And then from there, it's beautiful to see how our guests and our friends just
Get to see our vision realized.
Listen, we're back, and I've been just going through this Curaçao fiesta, not fiesta, and it's actually quite awesome.
That's Hari Verstappen's book.
Hardest for Stappa's book, available at Giovanni Zanellino's Zanellino Gallery.
Which is...
Nope. Too much Borgu.
There we go. The Borgo walk in.
Maar wacht even, before we get into the coveted segment. Oh, Bert staat droog.
That's fine.
En
It's
you
good.
zegt it's fine.
I'm good.
Maar Bert, you're überhaupt not drinking alcohol. What's up with that?
So this is a funny subject because I stopped drinking in
Rum and Red Bull. Oh, sorry. You stopped drinking, yeah?
4 years ago. Yeah, I think about 4 years ago I stopped
In
drinking.
Corona time? That was the time I just grabbed the bottle. I mean, I needed it.
Well, the thing is, I did it to support a loved one,
Okay.
and who's trying to live a sober life,
Okay. I can respect that.
and
A little bit of solidarity.
yeah, I was thinking, a bit of a solidarity, and it was interesting because I figured, hey, I'm not really missing it, and I used to suffer from like severe gout attacks,
Oh, yeah.
and I haven't really had one since I've stopped drinking. So I said, I'll just stop drinking. Now, the interesting thing is that, especially family around me, they're like, wait, you stopped drinking? Why? You're a member of a church now? Like, what's going on? I'm like, I just stopped drinking. Yeah, but you used to drink. I'm like, yeah, well, now I don't anymore. Well, what? Babira medico?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, no, maar gewoon stop.
Wait a minute. Who says that?
But
A
it's-
cousin of
it's
mine
for
said that to me.
sissies.
It's more like sissies. It's not like, it's not.
I know, pero...
Yeah. It's.
Koi Marico is like Hopi local, but then
But he is local.
I'm local.
No, but I...
Kijk naar het vorige segment.
I'm not saying him, I'm saying the cousins.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Everybody says it, helaas.
So the thing is though, I mean,
Babira Marico, gewoon.
Maar I'm like, I just stopped drinking, and
Not the end of the world.
it's not the end of the world. And the funny thing is, like, like I said, I started doing it to support a loved one who's trying to lead a sober lifestyle, and which, thank God, is working for her, thanks to support groups that are available on the island.
I didn't know that we have support groups.
Yeah, we have AA. We have AA on the island. If anybody's, if anybody is
Struggling.
sorry, Borgu, but if anybody is struggling on the island, because the thing is, on the island, it's okay to be drunk and annoying and
Really?
it-
Really?
I don't know if it's a
Well,
we
no.
tolerated, yeah,
It's
okay.
okay under
Certain circumstances.
There we
It's
go.
okay to drink, but not to be annoying, belligerent, or whatever have you.
Under certain circumstances, if you play the role of whatever the box that they put you in, then it's not like, oh, okay, it's a problem, but it's, oh yeah, that's just him.
that's the thing. Like they're like, well, I you know how he is.
Yeah.
And that the thing is, it's not okay,
No.
right? So the thing is, now that I've never had that. But what I used to do is be a little bit happy. That's all I had. But I have people around me that become annoying. But the reactions I'm getting from people around me, I just find incredibly interesting.
And what is your take on that? What is your analysis?
I think my analysis is they're themselves using alcohol as some sort of gateway for whatever thing that they're experiencing, and so the fact that they're seeing somebody like denying this crutch, they're saying, what are you, what, because
Not compute.
it doesn't, like, I think they're like, wait, what are you, and then they're trying to, whatever issues that they're having, they're trying to project onto you in order to kind of, om goed te praten dat zij wel gewoon misschien semi-alcoholisten zijn.
Does it do anything to you, or think, yeah, whatever?
I'm like, well, whatever. Really, like, it's honestly like this past weekend I had a conversation with my mom, and she was mentioning about, oh yeah, do you remember this liqueur? You used to drink this liqueur. I'm like, yeah, I remember, and I remember I used to enjoy it. but I don't drink it anymore.
Yeah.
It's just, I still think it's weird. She's like, I just think you're just not being yourself.
Where did I go wrong?
Yeah. I'm like, hey. But I mean, with all respect, I love my mom. But that's.
But okay, I would like to end this part here.
Sorry, Borgo.
No. It's not about sorry, Borgo, but it's more like because I like to give time to something that.
Of course.
But I think we're going to do an extra segment, Nick. Okay, sorry, fine, end it here.
You just was listening for all the bad.
Okay, no, fine, end it here. It's okay.
No, but okay, look, but I will give this enough space to breathe as well. We jokingly and almost kind of cynically.
Yeah.
We say, drink responsibly. You have to say it when you're basically sponsored by these people or whatnot, but we do mean it. We do mean it when we say drink responsibly. I've had a couple of dark moments as well where I was in a hole and the crutch helped, if that makes any sense.
But that's what I wanted to,
what I mean?
ask. Does it really help?
No,
Because when you finish your bottle or when you wake up the next morning, your problem's still there?
No, but okay, wait a minute. But it's not. The word of the day is nuance when it comes to our guests, because there's no such thing as this box, that box, that box, right? There's no such thing as a binary. I don't know if I'm alcoholic, I don't think so, but I can honestly say there's a space where you're either drinking for you or you're drinking to escape. And drinking to escape usually leads down a particular road and whatnot. When you're escaping something, yes, you have to confront the thing. You have to deal with the hurt and the healing and the process, which no matter what you do is going to hurt, no matter what, whatever. But there is something to be said too for enjoying the moment and the place and whatnot. Not that it is necessary, but it is, something that can be had on top of that.
Okay, and I want to give the next segment sufficient time, but I also think this is an important
Here we go.
topic. And, the irony is not lost on me with us being drunken monks and having Borgo.
Yes, my cup! Anyway, yeah.
And having Borgo as our sponsor. But why do you think, I want to say Caribbean, why do you think Caribbean, drinking alcohol is so important in Caribbean culture?
I think, honestly, and again, for all the anthropologists, you can tell me if I'm wrong, and I'm not being bullshitting.
Yeah.
I'm being real. There's a research to be had in this movie. I think that there throughout whatever the African diaspora had to go through, throughout whatever had to happen when it comes to getting the slaves in line, there was a loss of not just cultural pride and understanding and all those things, but it was also basic humanity when it comes to quote unquote manhood, quote unquote, what it means to be a woman, man, whatever. And I think that in that space, you had, feats of strength. You're a man if you can wrestle this cow with your bare hands. You're a man if you can climb the mountain with no rope. You're a man if drinking a certain amount of alcohol, I think, became at least that was my experience. That was the uncles, that was the uncles and the grandfathers and everybody. So when you be like, "But uncle, we're not supposed to drink." What the hell you be? Yo, drink. You're not like a pussy. Come, drink this, whatever.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that there's, at least for men, there's a certain amount of you're not going to fall to this. You're not going to lose yourself in this. You're better than this.
Yeah.
There's an implied strength of character where you can drink, get to a point, enjoy yourself, let loose, also let go of some demons, whatever, and then go back to the system of, we're working, we have a suit and tie on, we are functioning parts of society, and whatever. There's a certain amount of valor, I guess.
Does it have anything to do with dominance? I can drink these toxic drinks that can make me do crazy shit, but I know my limit.
Wait, I'm gonna say it for you. Down with the patriarchy. You don't have patriarchy without dominance. You don't have patriarchy without dominance. You don't have. There is a certain amount of understanding of controlling the circumstances around you to be able to handle it and to be able to do this and that or whatever. And whatever you feel within yourself, whatever you feel like, oh, I can drink this much and be good tomorrow. I can do this much. I can have this many women. I can gamble this much. I can do whatever your vice is. But you have control over it. It's not the thing runs you, it's you run the thing.
But unfortunately, a lot of the time, alcohol runs you.
Yeah, alcohol runs you. Women run you. Sex, let's say.
Yeah.
Let's call it across the board.
Yeah, addiction in general.
The thing runs you, even though you delude yourself into thinking that you run the thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, Bert, please jump in because we're getting way too serious, way too deep.
No.
Cure addiction, please go ahead.
Look, it's you need to recognize it as a disease. I remember. I'm a member of a club that we do stuff for I might as well say it, Rotary Club Willemstad, and we do good stuff. We do the good stuff on the island. But I remember there was one of the members, whenever they would suggest like, hey man, we want to do fundraisers because we want to raise funds for a good cause on the island. But what was no? I mean, if we raise funds, it's to do it for a good cause. Well, I remember one member would always there would be ideas like, yeah, let's do a beer fest, and one member would be like, yo guys, I can't. I mean, I drink a beer once in a while, but I can't stand behind a beer fest because, and this is a guy that's a doctor. He says, listen, this is poison. This is pure poison. This doesn't do anything but break down your body. And I can't support a beer fest because you're promoting addiction, you're promoting toxins. That was his point of view. Now all of us in the club had that point of view of like, man, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, dude? And he's like, look, I'm just giving my 2 cents. All right, just allow me to give my opinion. Yeah. If the majority decides we need to do a beer fest, then we do a beer fest. Or we do a wine tasting. I'm saying I'm against it, and I'll support the club, but I'm against the principle.
Let it be noted.
Let it be noted. And I had always been like, well, okay, whatever. Right. That's also saying. Until you start trying to understand what somebody who's trying to lead a sober lifestyle, what that is like. Yeah. Forget the dominance, forget the patriarchy, forget it's a problem on the island. Yeah. And I'm saying there's a difference between it's like social drinking and being an alcoholic, because alcoholism on the island does not get its fair share. No, we don't understand how many families it breaks. We don't understand how many how much it hurts. Yep. Kids,
And we can say this, guys, while being good to our sponsors. We can
true.
There is enjoying and there's overindulgence.
Absolutely.
And there is such a thing of understanding of, hey, we're all human, and humanity is a broad spectrum. There are some that can, there's some that can't, and we need to understand for those that can.
Exactly. The ones the ones that can't, that's where we have to kind of be like, hey man, you can't. And there's grand majority of us can.
Yeah.
So
and then we don't think about others,
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it's a lot like that for across the board for everything else too as well. We're gonna get into a deep conversation because apparently we're not talking about a thing. We're gonna go into the other thing later.
We're going for a break, and then we're gonna
have a break and we're gonna
your
talk about
segment.
Okay, fine. But okay, so anecdote time. Have a friend of mine, apping long distance. Shout out to her. I'm not gonna call out her name, obviously, but you're loved and you're well looked upon. Loneliness is a hell of a factor, or lack of understanding of your surroundings, your brain playing tricks on you with your dopamine and your whatnot. All these things are factors. All these things are things where you think that, the only way forward is this. And again, I don't say this lightly. I don't say this from a pedestal or whatnot. I was there. I was in a place of, oh, the only way for me to get this monkey off my back is to take a drink. And 1 turns to 2, 2 turns to 4, 4 turns to 6, and so forth and so forth. Right? I would never say don't drink. I would never say do not partake of anything, because I am a libertarian at heart. I am a person of like, okay, whatever, you can do whatever as long as you know what is going on. But I am also a person of understanding of what the human condition could be like and what bending could be like and whatnot. And I think that is where a lot goes by the wayside. It's your fault if you're an alcoholic. It's your fault if you enjoy these things or whatever and too much or whatever. Society does not look at their own accountability for, oh, I drink because things are fucked up at home. Or they don't look at the fact of, I consume because of this or that. I womanize because of manize. Personize. I think that's the word.
Personize, yes.
Personize because of this, that, and the third. You know what I mean? I think that we go straight to the accountability without the understanding of what's going on within island culture. I think that that's a part of that too, like as well. Call it colonialism, call it whatever, because that is very much you gotta live a good Christian life, you gotta live a good, law-abiding life or whatever. But I do think that a part of it comes from, we want to do well, we don't know how to do well, we don't have the answers, nobody has the answers, we don't talk about the fact that nobody has the answers, but we try to figure it out, and we figure it out alone. And so you get bad decisions, and so you get bad choices, and so you get bad choices that get entrenched without anybody being able to get to you, you know what I mean? And I don't know, I don't have an answer, guys. I'm not trying to preach here, you know what I mean?
Well,
But I do feel like there's more to be said for the humanity of it, and I love you, Bert, for bringing that across throughout the whole podcast so far. There's a humanity in everything. There's a humanity in how we do and what we do, and you agree a little bit with what me and Denise are trying to say. Try to find a human in it. Try to find a person in it. Try to find, ik leef mee met jou. Weet je? I'm done here, because break over. Sorry, guys. Fix the alcoholism.
No.
Fix
You've asked me to fix racism and alcoholism, which are and colonialism.
Right?
Yeah, those are all hot potatoes, and I tell you, I'm a firm believer in Happy Meals. Let's all eat a Happy Meal together, and we'll be fine. Our next sponsor will be. No, I'm kidding.
There you go.
Look, I just appreciate the fact that we're talking about it, having a conversation, and that I'm able to have a conversation in a safe space. And, like I had mentioned before, that I would tell somebody, yeah, I'm not drinking anymore. And then I would, there'll be some derogatory term slurred at me. And I believe that, of course, the world is gray. There's no black and white, even though I'm a very rigid thinking person in certain things. But thank you. But I do believe that, and that's, I guess, I'm not really sure if it's because I've been, kind of raised through the arts, that you learn to kind of accept. Well, you accept beauty and grace.
Yeah.
In whatever shape, way, or form that presents itself.
Yes.
And I've
beauty and grace. Thank you.
There you go. You're welcome.
Wow.
You're welcome. Well,
she's humble too. You know what I mean?
But it's but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the fact that it can take any way, shape, or form. So yeah, I appreciate the fact that you guys are able to talk about these topics and that you're able to do so without any type of judgment. So, and I wanted to recognize the fact that you are so brave, and that you open up about certain subjects, because that's the only way we get to reach other people and say, hey guys, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay if you need help. It's out there. Yeah. It just you don't have to go through it alone, I guess. So So yeah, I guess we're done with this very serious subject. And
No, before we go to the break.
Hold on. Yeah, of course.
No. This is
Of course, Denise.
Do you think that alcohol is gonna be the new smoking? Kijk, now for a lot of people,
interesting.
It's not done anymore, eh?
Yeah.
Those people who smoke are so inconsiderate.
Poisonous, toxins.
And indeed, like we like snuff, and people who are still smoking. Is alcohol moving that way? And I'm
Yes, and that's me, to him.
to both, and
I'll let him
and,
answer first, and then
and
I'll
keeping
give
it, and I'm thinking about that way, not only because you quit drinking, but I have a lot of people around me, especially Dutch people, who oftentimes some still drink, but some quit drinking also, but who oftentimes order a 0,0 of a 0%. So we go out, they order a beer, but it's the alcohol less.
Het is wel mee.
But
Het is wel.
Maar het is
But it's just
0%.
0%. And some drink, but they just either that day they don't want to drink or whatever reason they order a 0.0, and it is just so normal. So are we moving away, or are we moving towards alcohol being the new smoking?
You first.
Look, I believe that, I mean, back in the day, tobacco companies were so incredibly powerful that they would have doctors telling their patients you need to smoke to get better.
While smoking.
Yeah.
In front of pregnant women.
So
you need a cigarette just to calm down.
And then science caught up with us, and we said, whoa, hold on one second.
Yep.
So that's probably going to be the case with anything. Like we couldn't think of a world without alcohol. Yeah. I mean, if you look at how incorporated wine is in the French culture, and how much it means to an Italian family to have that bottle of wine on the table, like it's so much deeper than cigarettes ever were.
Yeah.
So having said that, it could be that at one point, look, the reason why you can't, especially Dutch people, like if you have one beer and you get caught with driving while drinking, it's deadly, folks. I mean, I'm convinced in Curaçao there's plenty of accidents that happen because of drunk driving. We just don't want to recognize that.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And the fact is, it's just irresponsible. Yeah. So I think a lot of these people in Holland, it's a cardinal sin if you drink and drive, which freaking damn well should be. So the fact is, they're so conditioned that, like, dude, I'm just gonna take the zero alcohol beertje because I'm gonna have to drive home.
Yeah.
So that's one. Maybe the science will catch up and tell us, there's something that's not really all too healthy with it. I'm not sure.
We already know that. That alcohol.
I got a calcified liver coming.
But I think alcohol, and like I said, mentioned about it being almost a part of the culture, it's probably going to be more difficult to get that out of a culture. It's really ingrained in certain cultures. I think other cultures not as much. I mean, if you're looking at the United States, for example, right? I mean, there's no drinking and driving. Well, I've been to college parties where, you know what I mean. So, and the thing is that I found, and what I had always found interesting in the United States is that like here in Curaçao, you're confronted with alcohol at an early age.
Yeah.
Confronted in the sense that your parents drink. They even ask you to mix a drink when they come home.
Yeah, or when you're 6 years old, they send you to the shop.
Like,
go buy some.
Hey,
whatever.
get
a beer, or get whiskey, whatever.
Johnny Walker and cigarettes every fucking day.
So
I was like 6 years old, 7 years old.
So that's the thing. Like I at around that age, I had to mix drinks for my parents when they would come home from. Doe maar een borreltje. Okay. That's fine. That was like, for me, that was normal, right? But my point was, when I went to the United States, like, they were like, as soon as they turned 21, they're like, drinking, let's get shit faced. Yeah? Okay.
Want die meter bier en
okay.
Like all die
plekjes
en die
je hebt gelijk. Ja.
Like once they hit a certain point after the race.
I guess because I had those formative years in the US, but I just thought guys, come on, you know.
let's
Let's just relax. So, if you want to grab a beer, that's fine. But why do we have to get
Overdo it.
shit-faced?
Yeah.
Shit-faced was the norm.
Oh Lord. Yeah.
Right. But that was the norm.
Yeah.
And that had never been something that I was comfortable with. Just because I was like, guys, that's just really stupid. Why would I drink myself up to a point where I'm throwing up?
Yeah.
That's not fun, right?
Besides, you want to get laid. That's throwing up. That's not conducive to getting laid. I'm sorry.
Besides that, it's not conducive to anything.
Yeah, there you go.
But anyway, so I don't know. That's my 2 cents. I just want to thank you guys for being having the courage for taking up this
Courage when it's a
this subject. Well, it honestly
It's not courage when it's a friend, and it's not courage when it's right. I mean, come on, what the fuck?
no, but it's I'm being honest. A lot of people don't want to talk about this on this island. No, seriously.
I'm gonna get to that point. Because I still gotta get to like she asked both of us a question.
You answer the question.
Look, cigarettes is easy to vilify
Yeah.
because there's a hell of a bad side and there's not a lot of good side, or at least not for society.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good side for the individual. There's a lot of good side for whatever stress you're going through, whatever it is that you're going through. You take a moment, you go outside, like instead of not advocating for it, of course, done with the patriarchy. But instead of beating your wife, you go outside, take a cig, breathe, whatever. It gives you a moment of like clarity, something, right? But that combined with the bad side does not balance. That's something. Your moment of clarity combined with lung cancer, combined with smelling like a fucking ashtray, combined with every fucking thing else that goes with that. So it's easy to vilify. Alcohol is a little bit harder to vilify for all the reasons that you just said. On top of one thing else that I feel is not addressed. Alcohol allows for, quote unquote, social lubricant. Quote unquote, there's a reason why bars are so popular. There's a
Als je
reason why.
gewoon niet met mensen kan praten, basically.
Of
Take a sip en opeens you're the funnest, you're the life of the party.
bijvoorbeeld, bijvoorbeeld. Or you want to get laid again. You want to get laid. The lizard brain is activated, and you want to start a family, whatever. You're shy. You don't want to talk to the girl. You don't want to talk to the guy. A little bit of Dutch courage, like liquid courage, and then you're there. You know what I mean? Or 2, 3, 4, whatever. Combined with the manliness of whatever that's built upon it, sailorness, whatever that's built upon it. Combined with, een wijntje bij eten, een wijntje bij, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of invalshoeken where, like, alcohol has been in, and there's a conspiracy theory to be had.
Oh, Lord.
And whatnot. A lot of slavery came out of that too. Sugar and alcohol and rum and whatnot came out of the islands as well.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. But it's a lot more, as you said, ingrained. Pardon the pun, by the way. Grain, alcohol, whatever. Right? There's a lot more to be said for alcohol being a part of doen en laten van how we move. And it doesn't matter, maybe Islamic society. Maybe you could point to that. And even then, it's like, the dirty, naughty, marginalized are doing it, or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's something to be said for modern society. Business deals are done around it. Dates are done around it. Family gatherings, religious celebrations, Christmas, no matter.
The blood of Christ.
Even Jews have Manischewitz, man. Fuck it. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot to be said for that. And not that you can knock it out, but it's more like, why is it necessary in the first place? Why is it necessary in the first place? You and I, again, we drink, right? Hey, that's a little bit. But
For the dead homies.
for the homies. Hey, guys. But I will say this much. We drink, but you and I both know, balls to bones, tits to bones, whatever, we don't need it. We can speak to people vrij. We can do this and that vrij, whatever. There's a lot of people that do. There's a lot of people that like, I can't connect with my colleagues unless there's a bolletje bij. I cannot speak to my wife freely unless we have a good evening and I have a couple of wines and a couple of drinks or whatever. That is the reason. Part of the reason, at least, is what I feel. When we try to talk about that, our inability to connect to people, our inability to talk to people, our inability to move with people and be honest with people and not have it be, or not even blame it. I told you I love you, but I was drunk last night. Doesn't count. How many rom-coms have we seen? Have we heard about that? That you had the declaration of love, but they blame it and they pull back on, I was drunk that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the reason why it's there. That's the whole thing why it's there. I won't go into the whole thing with what you explained. I would just go into the thing of why is it there? You take a shot to get courage. You take a shot to cool out. You take a shot to connect. You take a shot to whatever. You know what I mean? You take a carnaval rum, dog. You know what I mean? As much as we love it, as much as we listen to that one, so the woman them ain't gonna be free and throw back and all of that and be uninhibited and what and so without the rum. The man them ain't gonna be brave without the rum. Unless we address that, we're not gonna address anything, in my view, because you can take alcohol out of the equation. Something will fill it. Something will fill that joint, joints. Something to fill that point. You know what I mean? And I think that not as a bad thing, as a good thing, whatever. It's just a thing. It needs to be addressed. It needs to be talked about. And like, why are we so awkward? Why are we such dorks? You know what I mean? Why are we the way that we are? Once we address that, we can take away the alcohol. Thank you.
Can we address the dork issue?
Ja, en dat is echt een trauma van Marlo, denk ik.
No, let's address the dork issue.
Okay.
James Earl Jones died.
Oh, we're gonna weld it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, we're gonna weld it. All right, boom.
No, wait, we're gonna re-up and then we're coming back about James Earl Jones.
Don't you mess with me, girl. We have to come back to James Earl Jones.
And you
starting.
will participate
We're starting.
in that
Ik weet niet eens wie die man is. Dus, oké.
No, it's okay. That's okay. It's all right. That's okay.
It's all right. It's all right.
That's just
Okay.
we'll do it when we come back.
We will do it together.
Yes.
You don't have to lie. Hey. Do you eat my food? Do you live in my house? Do you do all of this?
James
I
Earl
don't have
Jones.
to love you. I do my job as your fuck. You know what?
I'm
Fuck it.
fucking lost, mensen.
We will be right back.
Say how.
Hey, welkom. Goedemiddag, kan ik u helpen?
Hey guys, we're back. We're back. Gotta give it a little bit of moment of time because I am a film buff. Bert's a film buff. Denise, less so, but I think you would enjoy what's about to...
Are you kidding me? 2-time winner of the 48-hour film project Curaçao.
I don't know how it works, but that's how it
If anybody wants to make a short film in a weekend, 48hourfilm.com/Curaçao.
Please. Yes.
And when is it?
The last weekend of September is the competition, and on October 10th we have a spectacular award show.
Highly recommendable. Doe gewoon mee.
Yeah, the 48-hour film project Curaçao. It's a worldwide competition. We have about 100 cities that do it throughout the United States, and the winner of Curaçao gets to go to Filmapalooza, which is the international festival, which you've been to. But yeah, that's my film buff plug. I'm sorry.
That's your film buff? No, but please
Maar
plug it.
anybody can do it. If you have an iPhone, if you have a Samsung, if you have a phone, basically, you don't need a fancy camera.
You don't need to be a professional.
You don't need to be... This has been proven several times.
Yes.
Yep.
No, but speaking of film world, speaking of acting and all of that, we gotta pour one out or raise our glasses, or we're not even empty glasses. You got a little bit left.
I got a little bit left.
With all the caveats we made.
Hold on. She's pouring.
I know, she's pouring. We're waiting. We're waiting.
Oh, dat was niet zo'n klein beetje, maar...
Ja. Je moet wel rijden, man. Dus dan, no, but to a fallen legend for this week, this 2 weeks, I guess, because by the time I'm done editing, it's going to be a little bit later. James Earl Jones.
Yeah, man.
James Earl Jones.
Were you named after him?
I was not. I was named after my father, who was named Earl, who was named after his his father, and my son is named after that. So it was like Earl the Fourth.
Oh Lord! Oh
With
my
my son.
goodness.
No, but those that came up, definitely those that were film buffs in the 80s. You couldn't get away from James Earl Jones at one point. So I would allow you to bring it in.
Sure.
Just to give his like bona fides, and we'll go into the deeper aspects just a little bit later. Please, sir.
James Earl Jones. Yeah, everybody knows him as the voice of Darth Vader, the voice of CNN.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
The voice of CNN.
Hold on, we're gonna touch on that one. Yes. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
The famous "This is CNN."
Yeah.
But let's get back to this man. I mean, he was born in Mississippi. He actually grew up in Michigan. Was reared by his grandparents.
Yep.
Was a heavy stutterer all throughout. Really?
Yeah. When I figured out that he was a Star Wars guy, then I saw his interview like, oh, George Lucas hired a stutterer. I was like, fuck, what am I waiting on? What am I doing? You know, like, yeah, I stutter, guys, if you didn't know. But yeah.
Nah, well.
So go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
No. Heavy stutterer until he was in high school, where his English teacher had said, you know what, why don't you read poetry out loud? It'll help you get over your stuttering. I mean, this man was as a kid, he was seen as a mute. Yep. Because he was so self-conscious about his stuttering.
Such an iconic voice, by the way.
Right?
Ironic that he was seen as a mute.
Maybe it is because he was mute, preserved, like a wine in a barrel. Like.
Let's hope and pray, and let's hope that was the case.
Maar hoe het ook zij, he turned out to be.
Well, so what happened is he got into theater because of the high school thing, and then he went to University of Michigan. Did a lot of theater. He did everything. He would construct sets. He was a carpenter at one point on a set. He was stage manager. He was actor. He did time. Actually, he served in I believe it was in the army. Didn't see active duty in Korea because his unit kept on moving around here and there, but ended up coming back. Doing theater, he did some Shakespeare. I mean, with that voice, how can you not do Shakespeare?
Did he do Lear? Because that part,
I know he did Othello. I know he did Lear. Lear, I'm not sure, but I'll have to check that for you. But he did by accident. They came across his voice. Well, not by accident. The guy that was playing Darth Vader had a heavy country western kind of voice.
Not just country western, but country western for England.
Right.
It was David Prowse. So David Prowse, the bodybuilder, looked the part, could wear the suit, all of that. He sounded kind of British there.
But he was. I'm sorry. He was more country sounding. But. So George Lucas went out and got his voice. He had heard his voice, and he said, "Okay, I want you to be Darth Vader." Before that, I'm not really sure if it was before that. If he did Roots, he was also in Roots. Roots.
There was a couple of things before
about Star Wars, absolutely.
Wars, right? Yeah.
So,
wacht even, because you were saying he's known for Star Wars. I never watched Star Wars. Dus
okay, so there's yeah.
But no, I know the figure gewoon van pop culture. Maar was he only the voice, or was he really?
He was only the voice.
Because the bodybuilder David Prowse.
Oh, okay. So they kept the guy. They kept the guy.
Who was in the? But the funny thing is, he didn't get credited we were talking about this off camera. He didn't get credited as the voice. He didn't. Because he was like, I don't want to get credited. He was said in an interview. He said, I don't know if you guys know The Exorcist. The Exorcist. You have Linda Blair at one point having this like devilish voice, which was done by another actress that dubbed it in. That actress never. That actress never got a credit, and he saw that as the same. He's like, it's just a special effect. It's not. So he didn't get credit for the first two movies. The third movie he did get credit. In the special edition of the second movie, he got credit, and then after that, it's history. But interestingly enough, where I know him from?
Where do you know from?
Honestly,
Supermarket.
Conan the Barbarian.
That's my man.
I know him. I know him from Conan the Barbarian.
I forget the name of the character. But he was the bad guy. He was the bad guy. Like he was the wizard warlock.
He was. So I remember him from that. And after that, of course, you had Coming to America. You had Field of Dreams. You had.
We're gonna come back to Coming to America.
You had the Sandlot. You had a bunch of movies where especially Field of Dreams. That's also a beautiful movie.
Wonderful monologue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful.
So anyway, just a wonderful man, man that has done a lot for. We're always talking about Sidney Poitier, about the what he has done for the black actors in the United States. We talk as well. We're talking about Harry Belafonte. We can talk about but people underestimate what this man has done for black actors absolutely.
Yeah.
People underestimate
Across the board.
what he has done.
Name a couple of things because I'm totally not familiar.
Well, first of all, this guy had won the Tonys twice. He had won Primetime Emmys twice. He had won. He has won a Grammy. He has won an honorary Oscar. This guy, he's an EGOT.
Yeah, he's an EGOT dude.
And from way back, probably.
No, well, the EGOT, I believe in 2011, he got recognized with an honorary Oscar.
I think Whoopi Goldberg beat him to the EGOT where the blackness is concerned.
Right.
So.
Right. And
but let's back up a couple of steps. You know what I mean? And honorary monk. So get a little shade of black to you, one so. At least me in my experience, I did not figure out that King Chaffee Joffer from Coming to America was Darth Vader until I was older. Until you got to like the dirt sheets and to figure it out and the credits and the whatnot and so. I didn't know that. I honestly didn't know that. The first time I ever saw him was Coming to America. Yeah. Was Coming to America when I was like, I must have been 9-10 years old. And you saw the movie on HBO and you saw this again, a regal man. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
Him, Angela Bassett, there's like a couple of them have regal in their title. You know what I mean? And this man, he's playing a king. He's playing like Eddie Murphy's, dad or whatever. Yeah. But he sounds the thing, and he acts the thing, and this is the thing. And you would never look at him and think, oh, that's a stutterer. Yeah. Oh, that's a shy guy. He's shy. He's very, to the how as a person or whatever. That was the first time, and I also saw within that movie, like, black people elevated. Like, that was like, oh, this can happen too, like, as well. There's another reason why that movie was so popular, because we can do more than whatever that's the stereotype that was given to us. And yes, he was also on the backs of all those that came before him. Again, the Sidney Poitiers and the Flip Wilsons and all of those people or whatnot that came up in the American system or whatever that were able to allow to see dignity within a black role, even in a comedy. But he was there, and in the comedy, he had timing, he had range, he played the straight man, but he played the straight man so wonderfully and so well, as according to like Eddie Murphy's quirks and emoting and whatnot. So like looking at the fourth wall, all of that, he played it straight. And then you see him in Fever and Dreams, and then you see him as a Jack Ryan movie. As
all the CIA directors he played in the Jack Ryan movies.
All of them.
Yeah.
And then you see him in The Sandlot, and he's a poor guy and whatnot, and all of these things again with dignity, with a certain amount of gravitas, but very much to the role. He's not trying to outshine the role. He's not trying to be bigger than the role. He's not trying to be. he's in the role.
As much as he excelled in movies, you know where he was really
Broadway.
Oh my goodness, the
Broadway,
guy.
Fences. That was what I did.
His theater. He got a Tony for Fences, but before that, I mean, he was in. Aside from Shakespeare, he was in many popular plays that were written that you wouldn't think would be able to be played by a black man, and he had that. He was able to put that down. He was able to do that, and he was just somebody that whenever he was captivating, and you were in awe because of that voice and the command of that voice,
and the command of the language.
And the
command of his.
He was on stage. He was a presence.
Yeah.
All right, man.
I'll say this much because we do got to finish soon. We'll end with this because again, I think we're trying to give you a little bit of game and whatnot, and so. That wasn't where I fell in love with him as a film buff, though. Even though hey, that's Darth Vader. Hey, that's Mufasa.
He was
Right?
Mufasa?
Yeah, he was He was Mufasa.
Voice.
He did it for the animated version and the live action one that they made with John Favreau
Simba
made.
That was him, right? Toevallig, his wife in Coming to America was also the voice of his wife in Lion King.
Lion King.
Yeah, so that's another joke as well. I loved him in the smaller movies, in the smaller roles, in the supporting roles and the bit roles and whatnot. It's hard for me to be able to pull right here, right now, because Borg was working. But I will say that there's a lot of roles that you can look to his IMDb.
IMDb. Yeah, IMDb.
You can look to his
Argo
TV
walking.
tropes. Yes. Hey. There's a lot of smaller roles he took as well that he took serious. There's a lot of smaller roles, independent roles, that he was just the guy on the side. He was just the person that added flavor to a scene, or whatever have you. And there was no point in time that he was on Big Bang Theory, for fuck's sake.
Okay.
And he played a parody of himself, but he took it seriously. Everybody said the same thing. Yes, you want to end this.
I'm thinking, okay, the man dead. He 93. He lived a rich life, and I don't mean rich finance, but a lot of experiences. He did a lot of things.
Yes.
If I listen, you as actor, film buff, what will you remember him for? What speaks most to you? Waar sla jij op aan? Hoe denk je erop terug? And the same, I wanna what did he add to your life, bijvoorbeeld?
I will hold it to a couple of sentences and no more, and I'll give you the
First
one.
Sure. Oh, me first.
Yeah.
Really quickly. Whenever I would see him on a screen, because that's where I first met him, and it didn't matter if he played the bad guy or the good guy, the warmth that I felt when I saw him on that screen, I would feel this warme bad over me heen.
Yeah.
Weet je, and
Even as the bad guy.
even as the bad guy.
You gotta love him as the bad
Yeah.
guy. Yeah, you gotta. He's a bad guy. You want,
But that the way that he lulls you with that deep voice, and that guy was amazing.
I will top it off and end it with this too, as well. The word that I want to put on top of that is control. You have actor, and especially if you love movies and one and so, you start to appreciate once you get a certain point to actors who know how to control, and they call it quote unquote range.
Yeah.
You have a range for comedy, you have a range for the drama, whatever, but you have a control of it, and for him, his control seemed effortless. I think that was the warmth that you're talking about. I think it was just not even again. Look at the interviews. Look at everything he's done. He will tell you plain, I'm a shy guy from Michigan. I'm a shy guy from Mississippi. And I have a stutter and I'm very self-conscious. None of it came over on the screen. On the screen it was, this man knows what he's doing, to the point where you forget there's a man there. There is Darth Vader. There is Mufasa. There is homeboy from Conan the Barbarian and whatnot. So you forget the man and you remember the role, and that comes from control. He had such a control over his faculties and his cadence and flow and whatnot, and it gave you that. Oh, I'm gonna give you one more. He played, if I'm not mistaken, he played a scholar, and I'm trying to remember the movie, but he played like a curmudgeonly J.D. Salinger type of person, and it's not Feel a Dream, because that was that too, but it was another one, and in that you were like, oh, this person's annoyed, oh, this person is this, oh, this person is that. That is what I take away from him, like the emoting and the weight that he gave to every role, the making everyone better to make sure that you're on your craft, that type of thing. That's what I take away.
All right, so Bert and Marlo mentioned me a movie that I should watch this weekend to get to know him or to be in awe of him.
Field of Dreams?
Oh, absolutely.
Easily.
Who? Field of Drinks?
Field of Dreams.
Field of Dreams.
Yeah, so
It
I guess
is
talking again.
Americana, it is revisionist history, it is a lot of things. But if you can get past the problematic and you can get into the acting, it's wonderfully acted and whatnot.
All right.
What I would say on top of that, again, the Jack Ryan films to me like speak, because it's such a turn. It's such a, you don't see him as that dude, but he commands such authority and such, and he's in the place, and he's the mentor in that. He's not a magical Negro. That's not that trope. But he is authority, and he's bringing up Jack Ryan in that moment. And hey, you gotta listen.
He's authority. Like I remember this one scene where he's like, Jack Ryan, I believe his wife and daughter were involved in a assassination attempt. That's clear and present danger. So there's a scene where he wants to. He's an analyst. He's a CIA analyst, and he wants to be on this team on CIA that hunts terrorists.
Yeah.
And so the woman that's leading that team is like, I can't have you on that team because you're emotionally too you're too involved. You're all over the place.
Yeah.
And so he walks from his office into that conversation, and he says, he's like, Jack, me and I can't remember his wife's name. We're praying for her every day. She's gonna pull through. And I'm happy to hear that she's pulling through. But you were saying something that Jack wouldn't be an asset to your team, and then he turns back and walks into his office. I don't know if you remember that scene, but that scene of like, the way he commands that screen.
That Harrison Ford is in the
movie. Absolutely. You're completely.
Forget that Harrison Ford.
All right, this is the movie I'm watching, not the other.
Clear and Present Danger.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
Clear
right.
and Present Danger.
Done. Yeah.
And with caveats, of course, because it's 1991, based off a book out of 1984. So remember that there's certain things that you got to remember. For Cold War, for how we think of things, for how we look at people, for how men act. You gotta, don't get done with the patriarchy for that fucking movie. That's all I'm saying.
All right, well, now here's to
man.
the
Hey,
good
guys.
dude met een leeg glas.
No, and trust you me, guys, this is one of the few times I would say, tell us your favorite James Earl Jones thing in the comments, if you have it, because a lot of us grew up with Mufasa, plain and simple. Tell us what it is. Tell us what you grew up with. Tell us what he meant to you, if he meant something to you. And we'll go from there. Bert,
Yo.
thank you.
Yeah,
Marlo,
thank
thank
you.
you. Denise, thank you. Thank you guys for...
Super. I loved it. Interesting conversation, deep conversation.
Yes.
Wie had dat gedacht achter deze Bertus? Nee.
Ja, ik begrijp wat je bedoelt. Nee, maar goed, thank you very much for the invite, you guys. I really, really enjoyed it. I've seen some of your episodes, and I can't believe you guys have me here. So, this little blonde kid from Curaçao.
Anytime, man. Anytime you want to do a non-alcoholic drink.
And feel free to come back. Feel free. You want to talk about movies, this and the third, I'll kick her out.
Dude.
We'll go down the road.
Don't kick her out. Don't kick her out.
You guys can school me. You guys can school me.
Don't kick her out.
Willingly.
Hey, thank you very much, Marlo. I really appreciate the way you've talked opening up your heart. It's beautiful. Denise, thank you very much for, bringing the sense and sensibility into it all.
Yeah.
And I appreciate it. I really appreciate it.
It's a deep pull. Hey guys, don't forget Borgo. Don't forget our sponsor. What's up to Alberto?
Thank you to Sanelino.
Thank you to Sanelino. Don't forget that the book is on sale. Really and truly, guys, come true if you're on the island of Curaçao. See some stuff within the gallery for how to verstappen when it comes to photography, when it comes to telling a story, when it comes to some history. Really and truly, come through.
Come by anytime. The exhibition change regularly. So Sanelino, in the corner of Pieter Maaistraat.
Sowieso.
That's it.
And guys, this was it.
Hello.
Unless you guys got a last word, last thing, whatever. We're done.
Hi, good man.
We're done.
Well,
My name is Marlon Brown.
Denise Fiver.
We were
And will always be.
Drunken Monks.
I'm the sober monk. Bye.
Yeah.